This birdbath spa costs less than $100. It's easy to keep clean, and as you can see, the birds just love it. So here's what you'd need to make something similar. A long, lightweight basin to hold your water, a submersible pump for ponds or fountains, a water spitter, and a stand to put it on. You'll also need a few rocks, one large, relatively flat one for the water to pour over, and one for the birds to stand on at the bottom of a shallow pool at the far end, where that robin is currently taking a bath. You'll also need a couple of large rocks or bricks to support the large flat rock and a small length of black vinyl tubing to connect the pump to the spitter. Oh, and you'll need electricity. We have this set up in a small garden area where we grow herbs. You'd be better off if the space above it is clear of branches or wires where birds can perch, because where birds are perching, birds are pooping. And the less bird poop is in the water, the better. So now let's talk about what you need. First, the basin. Our container is 12 inches wide and 24 inches long. I think it's about 8 inches deep. Lightweight plastic or resin ones are going to be easier to move around and clean than stone or concrete ones, as beautiful as they may be. And the plastic ones are also much less expensive, something to consider if you're on a budget. What we use is actually a deck rail planter that we purchased at the local home improvement store, and it was less than $30. Don't use a container like this one shown above that has a thick rim at the top, because small birds are going to have difficulty perching on it. It's better to use a container like this, shown now, with a thinner rim. The birds will appreciate it. Another thing to consider is that many planters come with drainage holes that you'll need to seal. Here's a beautiful one that we almost bought, but it has large drainage holes, a good feature in a planter, but an unwanted feature in a bird bath. And being lazy, we punted on this model and chose a different one that may be slightly less attractive, but didn't come with the headache of having to seal any kind of drainage holes. Now for the heart of your bird bath spa, a submersible water pump. Search online for fountain pumps, and you'll see a lot of pumps like this. It doesn't need to pump water more than 10 feet, and look for ones that are easy to clean, like the one that's shown here. And it should really only cost you about $20. Now, some of them have longer power cords than others, something that you might want to consider when you're gauging on how to hook it up to your electric. Now, if the pump is the heart of your bird bath and the spitter, which shoots a stream of water out, is the soul. Because there are so many spitters out there that you can choose from, with many attractive ones in like the $20 to $50 range, as well as more expensive ones that can just break the bank. Now, the spitter we have was free, the one you see here. We actually scavenged this from curbside garbage on trash day. Somebody just threw it out, but like they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And the same can be said for the plant stand that it's resting on, which was just another garbage pick. So make sure you get your spitter before you get your stand, because you want the water exiting the spitter from a foot or more above the basin. I like this three-legged plant stand that's got enough distance between the legs to slide the basin under slightly, mostly just for cosmetic reasons. It makes it easier to hide the power cord and the vinyl tubing that connects the pump to the spitter. If you buy a plant stand retail, it should maybe cost you $20, but they're also easy to find at flea markets and garage sales. So this is a place where you can save money. Now, the best way to keep your bird bath clean is to constantly replace old water with fresh water. And that's why I recommend having a foot between the spitter outlet and the basin, because it makes it easy to get a watering can under it. And every day I remove one or two watering cans or bird bath water, and I use that to water the garden. Then replace the water you took out of the basin with clean water from a garden hose. It's a system that works really well. Now, if you do need to do a thorough cleaning for whatever reason, just empty the basin one watering can at a time until the pump runs dry, and then just take the large stones out of it. That's why a few large stones work better than a lot of small stones, just makes it a lot easier when you do need to do a deep cleaning. And once you get the stones out, then just take the lightweight plastic basin to some location where you can easily hose it out. Makes cleaning simple. And while you're at it, if you've got the whole thing out like that, take the pump apart also and clean it out as well. That way you're not going to have to empty it later if the pump gets clogged. Better to do it all, I think, at the same time. And then when you're ready to fill the basin, you just place those large stones on the bottom to make a base for that large flat rock that sits on top and lets the water run over it. At the far end, though, you need to make sure you have a base stone that has a fairly flat surface and fits the contours of that basin well, because that's where the birds are going to be sort of standing. You need to fill the fountain so that this stone is covered with maybe about a half an inch of water. This makes a shallow pool where your birds are going to frolic in what can only be described as avian ecstasy. Now, the easiest way to tell if the water level is correct is to measure it with your finger. The water level should come up to your last finger joint, technically your distal interphalangeal joint. Any deeper than that, and the small birds, like some of the finches, are going to be a little bit less likely to wade in. So there you have it. I hope this video has inspired some of you to build your own versions. It's inexpensive, it's attractive, it's easy to keep clean, and you might find that your biggest problem ends up just being crowd control.